Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video.
There's a famous saying that goes, the future depends on what you do today. The popularity CB radio once enjoyed became a symbol of success for communication. The user base was so massive back then, but we shouldn't expect CB radio to reclaim that level of popularity because newer technologies are hitting the market on a daily basis. This rapid innovation has totally changed the environment for the future of CB radio. The users of the radios also have deviated their interest towards technologies. This has resulted in a drastic change in the amount of usage we see on the old CB radios. Still, there is a hope that CB radio communication system can't be ignored. There are still many loyal users who would love for CB radio to return to its earlier popularity, but the naked truth is that the majority of CB radio users have moved on. In the age of the internet, this old school type of radio service is now considered to be an outdated means of communication, as there are better options available with more efficient performance available at more affordable cost nowadays that offer more than 40 channels of empty noise. There are a few reasons that might bring CB radio's popularity back to its peak, as it was all those years ago. CB radio, as we enjoy it today, results from the innovation of radio technology harking back to the United States to the 1940s.
If you're new to this channel and would like to see more CB related videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button below and watch out for new videos uploaded every Wednesday. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit the like button or leave me a note in the comments section. Also, if you're new to CB radio, watch this video through to the end to find out more about the free gift I offer to all of my subscribers.
This modern innovation provided the general public access to a short-range means of two-way communication over the airwaves. When CB radio was originally launched, the FCC allowed just a limited number of UHF frequencies for people to use. The cost of these initial radio units were considered very expensive, and a number of the early manufacturers of these radio sets had to halt production since the sales of early CB radios stalled because of their price. It wasn't until 1958 that the real Citizens band came into being, as the FCC allowed the 27 MHz band to have more frequencies to be made available to the general public. Now CB radio users are allowed access to 23 channels over the frequency range, and these newer devices could now be operated in the AM mode. By the 1970s, CB radio reached its peak of popularity because of the use of CB radio had become a very common localized means of two-way communication between truckers in order to share information and keep in touch with each other. CB radio was also heavily promoted to the public because of its predominance in a number of popular Hollywood movies such as Convoy and Smokey and the Bandit. It was around that time that the oil crisis arose, which resulted in a serious shortfall in fuel supplies, and the price of fuel rocketed to its peak. To cope with the situation, the United States government decided to impose a speed limit for all drivers, which obviously drastically impacted truckers most heavily. This helped CB radio to spread more widely, as they began to be used more frequently between truckers who needed a way of communicating with each other whenever they found a source of fuel somewhere. Call signs or handles were used by truckers to hide their identity over the airwaves when communicating with other drivers to inform them about possible speed traps that awaited them further down the road. It was because of CB radio's growing popularity and increased use, which was causing the channels to become increasingly busy, that the FCC decided to add a further 17 channels to the band, giving us the normal 40 channels we continue to use today. During the 1970s and 80s, which was the zenith of CB radio, many Citizens band themed magazines appeared in our newsstand. A magazine that featured predominantly at the time in the US was the S9 CB radio magazine. It covered all types of hobby radio, including Citizens band. The same publisher also produced a magazine called Radio for Radio Shack stores during the mid-1990s. Although many would consider CB radio outdated these days, even now there remains a need for a practical two-way communication system for the general public. This need encompasses road users, including truckers, radio hobbyists, and anyone in need of short-range radio communication, like plumbers, electricians and carpenters, who need a way to talk frequently between job site and office. While some radio users have moved on to other radio services, CB is still a very popular hobby in many countries. The 27 MHz frequency is used by Citizens Band, which requires a relatively long aerial and tends to offer poor propagation indoors. One limitation of the standard CB radio frequencies is the lack of range it offers, particularly for handheld units. Many radio users that need the additional portability of handheld radios, such as hikers and hunters, have moved on to other frequencies, most notably PMR 446 in Europe and Family Radio Service FRS in the United States, whilst companies have invested in business band radios or the VHF multi-use radio service MURS. CB radio is still popular among long-haul truck drivers to share directions, traffic problems and other relevant matters. The unofficial Travellers channel in most parts of the world is channel 19, in emergency channel 9 and the truckers channel 19. These frequencies may have evolved because tuned circuits work best in the middle of the band. The frequency for channel 19 is the centre of the 40 channel band, and other things being equal, signals will be transmitted and heard the farthest. CB radio is still a popular pastime for many people around the world, but with the advent of the internet and mobile phones, it is no longer as popular as it once was. It is still used widely by truckers and is particularly useful in rural areas where phone lines cannot be used or mobile phone signals are poor. With the development of mobile phones, the internet and social media, many local CB radio users have abandoned their CB radios for the privacy offered by mobile phones. The larger challenges faced by CB radio are around competition from other communication platforms and restrictions that make it difficult to install an effective CB radio antenna on your property. However, CB radio has not been entirely replaced by modern technology. There are still many users of CB radio in a range of different occupations. There is still a network of truckers who use CB radio frequently, and everyone should have some degree of knowledge about CB radio. The government and CB radio manufacturers should also play a role in preventing the obsolescence of Citizen Band by offering improvements and enhancements, as well as offering more features in newer radios. They too could promote the benefit of radio communication over more modern technologies. CB radio has been extremely beneficial to many in their daily lives. With the introduction of newer technologies, people are forgetting these benefits. The fact that CB radios are used by lots of people around the world proves it makes communication with others easy, as well as the fact that CB radio is incredibly easy to use. Even with the operation of mobile phones, some people still prefer to use their CB radio, especially when driving. Many older folk would also say that it is easier, or at least more familiar, to use a CB radio over their overly complicated smartphones. CB radios are readily available from numerous outlets and are much more compact and lightweight than ever before. They are simple to use, especially when driving, which is now the only legal way to speak with others, since it is now illegal to use a mobile phone whilst driving. There are a number of other advantages to CB radio. You no longer need a license to operate a CB radio, and this is one reason that using a CB radio is many people's preference. With CB radio, it should be possible to get real-time traffic reports, allowing you to adjust your journey on the fly, avoiding major issues on the journey. This could be especially useful on a long journey. One of the key advantages about CB radio is that they are relatively cheap to buy. They are also very easy to obtain and come in a wide range of prices and features. Consider also how useful a CB radio could be in an emergency. You may be faced with road closures, evacuation notices, floods, terrorist attack, blizzards or storms, and in every case a CB radio could be an especially valuable tool. As well as traffic updates and weather reports, it may also be possible to learn more from other radio users about speed limits whilst travelling, thus helping you to avoid speeding tickets and fines. CB radios should also work when mobile phone networks are down or in poor reception areas where the latest technology cannot get a signal. This again could be crucial in a major disaster when mobile phone networks would undoubtedly be affected. The Chilean earthquake occurred on the 27th of February 2010 with a magnitude of 8.8 on the Richter scale. This created buildings to be shaken intensely for over 3 minutes. This caused all types of communications, including internet access and mobile phone networks, to be drastically affected. In this case, the military made use of other radio ham and CB radio frequencies to connect with victims as this was the only means of communication available during the crisis. Once you have purchased or obtained a CB radio, there are no extra costs involved. This means that you can use a CB radio as much as you like for the rest of your life and it will not cost you a penny. There aren't too many things in this life that can offer you that kind of value. It may be worth considering the next time you get your mobile phone bill or are required to upgrade your current cell phone.
Hope you enjoyed watching this video, and as a thank you to you, particularly if you're new to CB radio or returning to it after many years, I've put together a free information series called The Beginner's Guide to CB Radio, which I'm sharing with all of my subscribers. To find out more, click the link in the top right corner now.